And that's why I call her AR-15.
Christmas, I give you the very next day, you boom, boom, boom.
Former Executive Director of the Congressional Black Caucus, Angela Rye. Tom, let me start with you. You heard the news this hour, the Dallas Police Chief David Brown saying they're going to bring other suspects, whoever they may be, to justice. That's priority number one right now. He says this was a well-planned operation.
Well, that tells me that when they looked at the subject that was killed last night, they looked at his either computers or his cell phone or whatever, that there were indications that he was talking to someone else, planning this possibly with other people, and that he wasn't all by himself, as he told the police.
Mike Rogers, before you served in Congress, you were an FBI agent yourself. How do you stop a killer like this, a U.S. Army reservist? He served in Afghanistan. Obviously, he knew how to fire a weapon. He had a lot of ammunition. He goes up high and he starts targeting police officers. How do you deal with that?
Well, if he was the only one, that is nearly impossible. If he hadn't had any other communication, I think clearly agree with Tom. He clearly had some communication with someone. There are some eyewitness accounts of people with camouflage bags getting and exiting in a hurry. And the police chief indicated today that he believes that there's someone else engaged in this. That's how you get it. It's an intelligence-based investigation. You have to be connected to the community, and the community has to want to stop crime as well. And that's the only way you're going to stop an event like this.
Angela, I know you're the former executive director of the Congressional Black Caucus. When you see what's going on, I want to get your thoughts right now. You have unique perspective. What happened in Louisiana, what happened in Minnesota, and now what's happened in Dallas. We heard from members of the Congressional Black Caucus earlier today. They are clearly outraged. What needs to be done now?
Well, several things, Wolf. I think that we have to stop looking at gun violence like it's a partisan issue. Human blood was shed. White people, Latino people, black people, the two black men who we've talked about all week, Alton Sterling and, of course, Philando Castile. I think that we have to start dealing with these issues at a policy level. We cannot afford any longer to pretend like these issues will just go away. Folks push back on background checks and say that wouldn't have caught probably this shooter or even the shooter in Orlando. The reality of it is there are far too many loopholes, and at every barrier it can be knocked down because we pretend like these things will just disappear, like people will rely on their better nature. And we can't do that anymore. I think that you heard loud and clear from the CBC members today, and you saw them during the sit-in just a week and a half ago, that this must end, and that means that Congress must in fact act. We cannot do this alone. People are outraged, they're frustrated, they're hopeless, and this is the type of thing that happens when people reach this level of hopelessness.
Congressman Mike Rogers, you served in Congress for a long time. There's a real divide there. There's no movement, at least there hasn't been, in terms of greater gun restrictions, for example, on assault-type weapons. That's what the Congressional Black Caucus wants. A lot of Democrats want it, but a lot of Republicans are resisting.
Yeah, and I think there's some compromise bills, one coming out of the Senate. They're going to find a solution to it.
You think so?
I do, except here's my concern with this. And we are all fooling ourselves if we think that this one highly charged political issue is going to stop this problem. We have a rhetoric problem in this country. We've heated up on every incident that happens to a point on both sides, by the way, where it's driving people. This person says he was driven to do this and then conspired with others to do this. That is a bigger problem. That is a much bigger problem. Each individual of these law enforcement cases should be judged individually. There's a 31% increase, 31% increase in police officer shootings, meaning that police officers are killed at a 30% higher rate this year than they were over last year. That tells you that there is a bigger problem, and rhetoric matters. So we're going to have to start dealing with real problems in these communities. The fact that the graduation rates are all hovering around 50%, there's no job opportunities. Those are the real problems that are breeding what I think is hate and discontent. And then you do an issue like this, sprinkle on some hot rhetoric, you have somebody climbing up in a tower and shooting people.
All right, Angela, go ahead.
Critical.
Sorry, a couple things. I would love to, I'm sure we don't have time to get to that, but to bring up graduation rates right now at a time like this is horrible. So let me just first say that the man actually said the exact opposite of what former Congressman Rogers said. He said that he acted alone. He said that he was upset about Black Lives Matter, and he said that he wanted to kill white people. I'm not endorsing any of that. But what I will tell you is to act as if this man who said that he was upset about Black Lives Matter was acting on behalf of an organization, a movement that is simply trying to ensure that black people survive in this You brought up numbers of death in communities and the number of people who are shooting police. Let me just drop this number on you. 559. That is the number so far of people who have been shot and killed by police officers this year. I am horribly sorry and heartbroken about what happened in Dallas, but I would be remiss if I acted like black lives don't matter today because they mattered last night and they mattered the day before, and that is what you have seen from the families of these people who lost their husbands and their sons and their boyfriends for no reason. I will not act as if this is a political issue. It is not. Our lives matter. It is important, and at this point I'm livid and frustrated by the reduction of those lives to graduation rates and community issues that can be solved not only by people like you, Mr. Rogers, but also the members on the Hill who have to take this on.
Well, I'm not on the Hill anymore, but I will tell you, if we don't deal with the problems in these communities, you can talk about guns all day long. The problem is here we have bigger sets of problems in urban America all across this country. And it's not a black issue, it's not a white issue. And I understand nobody's saying that black lives don't matter. I think that, candidly, is a political slogan in a year to try to divide Americans.
No,
what we have
to
do is deal with the circumstances in each one of these cases. Deal with education in police departments. All of that is really important. Cultural sensitivity in police departments, especially in urban America, very important. But so are all of the other problems. Lack of opportunity in America is literally leading to the deaths of American citizens, and I don't care what color they are. If we don't deal with those issues, all of this won't matter.
Black people being deemed inherently violent is the problem. You cannot deem black people as inherently violent. That is the problem. Deal with that.
Nobody says that.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
Christmas, I give you scrap, the very